So I just had a brilliant idea. I figured since Judas Priest are popular at the moment with the release of their latest album, why don't we cash in on that and maybe put a nickel in my pocket and do an updated ranking of the albums of Judas Priest? I think I did it a couple years ago. This list is quite different than the last, though, because my tastes change and they vary. And this is just a day to day thing. It's what I'm into at the moment. That's all it means. It's not written in stone or anything. It's not a factual statement. This is just my own personal list at the moment. So if it varies from yours, I don't need personal attacks, please. That's all I'm asking. You can put your list and we can argue back and forth. That's cool, but no personal attacks, man. Sometimes people do. It's weird, but whatever. 19, Demolition. I don't really enjoy anything off that album. There's a few riffs here and there that are good, but there's there's very little that I enjoy. It's unenjoyable listening experience from me. Next up, Rockarola. Look, I like the sound of Rob's voice when he was young. It sounds fantastic. It sounds great, but the album puts me to sleep. 17 Jugulator. Better than Demolition, definitely. Nothing I go back to though. It's got one really good song. The rest I don't care for. Um, it gets confusing, man. From here on, it really does get confusing. I'm gonna go Sin After Sin next. Why? That's an album. There's half of it that I really like, and half of it I could do without. And I guess that's why it's there. Even though there's a few albums coming up that kind of fit in that same box. Um, After that, I'm going to, what am I doing here? What am I even doing? I'm going to commit the sin and go with Sad Wings of Destiny, I think. That was low last time and it's low again. Look, there's stuff on there that I really enjoy. There's no doubt. But again, something has to be lower than others. And this is one of those. Now, let's go to, I think I'm going Point of Entry next. Even though I was listening to it the other day and it's actually stood the test of time pretty well. There are three songs I really like, a couple other songs that I enjoy, and then there's about half the album which I don't care for at all. So there's two really strong songs that I love, Solar Angels and Desert Plains. That really boosts this album up higher than it would because I enjoy those two songs so much. So that is where we're at with that. Um, this is another tough one. On next, I'm gonna go with Angel of Retribution. Even though I was just listening to that album and I was like, man, this has got some stuff that I really like. Um, for me, it sounded a little weak, but this is tough. I don't know. I really don't know my decision here. The fast heavy songs I don't really care for, but there's Angel is great. Loch Ness is just, man, do I want to go here or not? Eulogy I love. It's just a short little song, but I love that song. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with here just because what's coming up is something I enjoy better, I guess. That's the point of this, isn't it? Redeemer of Souls is next. Redeemer of Souls has some crazy good songs on it. The production hurts it, and that's why it's here. If the production was better, this would be higher. I love me some Redeemer of Souls. But this is an album I really wish they would go back and remaster. It needs it. It deserves it. The songs are fantastic, and it could really use some good production. Next up, Nostradamus. Look, I'm a big prog metal fan. I'm a fan of concept albums. There are parts that may be a little slow here. It is long, but for the most part, I always really enjoyed this album. And as far as musicianship, this may be their peak. Some of the solos on this album are absolutely insane and killer. And this is probably their most technical album to date, I think. Now we're going to go to. Wait. I think I missed Ram It Down, did I? That was supposed to go, I think, somewhere. I think that was supposed to go right after. Um, I think right after Sad Wings was going to be Ram It Down. And that's another album that confuses me sometimes. There are moments that I really enjoy off that album, and yet I feel that overall it's weak. And there's a few songs that boost it for me higher than it would be otherwise. Because all in all, I feel it is maybe their most generic and weak sounding album, although it's not my least favorite. Other than Demolition. Demolition is the weakest and most generic sounding album. Yeah, in my opinion. But so there we go. Then I'm gonna go with it gets really tough here. It gets really tough. At the moment, I'm gonna go Turbo at 9. I believe we're at 9. I think. Whatever. I'm not even counting, but Turbo is next. Turbo is an album that I have always quite enjoyed. Look, I was 14 when that came out, so I didn't want any parental guidance then at all, man. And I wanted Wild Nights and I wanted Hot and Crazy Days. So that album was good. I still enjoy listening to it. It's not highbrow, you know, but it's fun. And I enjoy that album quite a bit. Then we're going to go with, I think, at number 8, I'm going to go with Firepower. Firepower is damn good. I enjoy the hell out of that album. I don't know what else to say. Sounds great. The songs are great. Great riffage. Great album. Firepower at number 8. 7, British Steel. It's British Steel. It's got great songs. What do you expect? It would be higher if it wasn't for the 2 singles. I never cared for either one of those songs. The rest of the album kills. 6, this one dropped a bit from the last one. This is Painkiller. Painkiller is fantastic. It doesn't have as many ebbs and flows. It's very one-tracked. It sounds great, but would be my only complaint of that album. Number 5, this is a big riser from my last list, and that's Stained Class. I mean, I always knew Stained Class since I was 15. I probably heard it the first time, so it's not like I just caught on to the album now. It's just I'm getting more into the 70s riffage now at this moment in my life, and this has got killer, Exciter, White Heat, Red Hot, Stained Class, Invaders, Saints in Hell, one of the best songs, period. And Beyond the Realms of Death, yeah, again, one of the best songs, period. Great album, love that. And that's why it is there. Next up, I'm going to go Hell Bent for Leather. I just always love the attitude and the swagger of that. There are some weaker moments, and perhaps the album as a whole isn't as good as some of the albums I brought up before, but right now I love listening to it, and I love the attitude of that album. And here's where people are going to get mad, because number 3 is going to be no, not yet. Screaming for Vengeance is number 3. On any day, Screaming for Vengeance could be my favorite. Such a great album. I love that song. I mean, I do love that song, Screaming for Vengeance. The entire album, though. Nothing weak. I put it on. I do not need to skip any song. Every song is fantastic. Even Pain and Pleasure and the few that people complain about, I love those songs too. Now, number 2, here's where, no, not yet. Defenders of the Faith. Defenders of the Faith was my previous number 1 album. I've always thought it's a little darker, heavier, and that's my first album I heard from Judas Priest. 1984, I got this album and was a Priest fan from then on. Crazy good album. The second half fades a bit. but the first half is the strongest first half, you know, of a cassette, because that's what I had. First half of a cassette before you have to flip it, that first one. This is the strongest, probably, of any metal album in the history of history. I love that. Those first, what, 5 songs, man. Ah, so good, so killer. Yeah, Defenders. And that brings me to Invincible Shield. And here's where all the old school fans, not all of them, because there are some that are very cool and will listen to new stuff, right? But there are a small percentage who are like, don't even say it. I haven't heard it all, but there's no way it could be as good as this or that or this and that, whatever. And I'm like, but you haven't heard it, so how do you know? It Just get out of here. It can't be. Yeah, it can be. This album is so good, comprehensive. It encapsulates every little moment of Judas Priest that I love and puts it into these amazing songs. Um, there's not a weak point. Crown of Horns, I don't care for. And I'm talking about the deluxe version. So 14 songs. There's one song out of the 14 that I don't necessarily care for. Not a bad song, and I don't skip it, but that's the one I don't love as much. Everything else, though. And it's got some of the. There's like 3 songs on here that I think will be classics. Um, They'll be 20 years from now, people will be like, this is a classic album because it is absolutely killer. I love Invincible Shield. If this is their last album, it's the best last album any band has ever put out. Period. There you go. There's my list. That's my opinion. Let me know yours. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you.